But ask
You're
me again.
live. Why are you self-conscious about it?
I
So, all
think
right,
I'm
folks. What we're
self-conscious about
go
many
ahead, go ahead.
things.
Oh man, I just see you're wearing your BKK shirt, and I, feel like I should have.
Oh,
Feel like
DC
I feel
became.
like I should have wore one of my BKK shirts. We could have been Bangkokians together.
Yeah, I think
That
we
would have been
need to
fun.
do like a special in Bangkok.
I think it's a great idea. October? Anyone? Anyone?
Ooh,
You know what? I really wanted to go to a conference that's in Bangkok in October, and unfortunately, the good news is
fortunately.
Open LMS is having its first in-person event October 18th, 19th, and 20th, 2022. So whoever's listening to this or watching it, go to elearnsuccessseries.com or go to lmspulse.com or go to elearnmagazine.com. I think actually you can probably go to openlms.net too. But go to any of those places and you will be confronted with with a request to sign up for our wait list for the in-person event, the fourth in the eLearn Success series, because we've had, which way do I move my finger? Design, instruction. In July, we're having our ed tech session, which I gotta say,
Nice.
Chris, I'm pretty jazzed about the speakers that we have. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have Go Student. So we've got the CEO of Go Student, a unicorn. This guy's got $1 billion valuation company. He's going to be talking to us about artificial intelligence, the future education. We've got Al Kingsley, who's going to be rolling in
Our top.
and
Yeah.
talking about his 30 years of experience and what he sees for the future. We've got Mike Taylor coming in talking about no code movement. Got Tanya Riney from IntelliBoard talking about how to use data. Pretty exciting stuff. Is this
Yeah,
what
you
you
know
call it?
this.
Is this what you call a cold intro? Is that what this is?
Yeah. No, I think we're very. No, I mean, to be completely honest, I think we are kind of good at cold opens.
We're good at the
We
cold
need to get
open.
good at everything else too. Or-
Yeah, and it's cool because whoever isn't watching us right now, who's watching this later in the recording, this is something Chris and I have been talking about: is how do we spice this up? How do we make office hours cooler and
to make
better
it
and snappy? And
and
so,
momentous.
oh my lord, yikes! Production. Can you say production? I'm wearing an asalada today, by the way.
What's
Ocelada.
that? Ah,
Ocelada.
oh, ocelote.
Let's see, de Mexico. So what are we going to talk about today for the next 25 minutes or so?
So I think today we can just get to the grunt of turning everything we've discussed so far and put it into a course or just create. I don't think we can like build the content, but at least outline what the content is going to be. So then we can move it into the platform, which we decided that is going to be OpenLMS platform,
Of
just
course,
because.
makes a lot of sense. I mean, we work for OpenLMS.
So let's get to work.
Okay, so we're talking about how you win the World Cup. We said we wanted to do the last five, look at the last five World Cup winners, and
Hmm.
try to discover, is there a formula for success? What are the things that we need to be able to look at and learn?
Well, the things that we've discussed, first of all, well, the team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay.
Are you working on a Google Doc because we can't see it yet?
Yeah, I'm about to share it. Sorry.
Okay, just
But we
making
need to
sure.
like, um, we need to
Extemporaneous
what?
thing.
No, what I was going to say is that we need to verbalize everything because this also is going on the podcast.
Ah, sure, of course. Well, we can't just type it, of course. I understand that.
Yeah, we need
Um,
to.
so anyway, so yeah, so uh, the players.
Team and players. Then the coach,
Okay. Coaches. Maybe. Are there more? Is it always just one coach? Is there more than one coaches?
Actually, there are sometimes teams, and in many cases, like in Germany, for example, they do a very good job of uh, the kind of the coaches' assistants. They sort of build up, and eventually they become coaches. So coaches
Do we
and
need to look at the environment, like the locality of where the World Cup is played?
yeah, we discussed that. Location. Locations,
I mean,
especially
under team and player. Yeah, go ahead. Especially what?
especially because there's many cases where the hosting team is the winner, so it definitely has a factor.
Okay. I mean that's probably a good statistic to know itself. Like how many times has the host team won? Because I don't think anybody thinks like Qatar is going to win the World Cup this year.
Yeah, of course, it's not. It is a factor. Rather
Although
than
you never know. And it would even be interesting to know that does the hosting team perform significantly better than they would in other times, right? Like,
I've asked that myself since I was a little kid. Like, why, when there is like a league of teams, they always and when every team plays against each other, like on a league, there's always at least two encounters between the team where one is the local and the other is the guest. And I'm always wondering why. I mean, what does it? And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. And I guess you could go down the road of the visible or the technical reason, and it's like the fields are never exactly the same, the weather, so players are more familiar with their own environment and so on. But there's also this unmeasurable element of the fans and the energy that they give you.
sure.
Yeah, so actually, I don't know if next to location or in addition to location, we can put like the fan bases
Oh, I
as
like this is where I was going to say, is that a subtopic under location? You know, like because then I was saying under
um,
team and players is a potential subtopic, um, like injuries. You know,
as a topic of players.
right? Like I'm just
Yeah.
kind of wondering how do you dive down? Like you kind of want to have like 4 or 5 big, buckets that we're going to look at, but then inside each of those buckets, there's rabbit holes that we can go down.
That's true. That's true. But I think first we don't
Like
get
for
into those
instance,
rabbit
another
holes.
another subtopic is, under team and players, it's like, the number of international stars, like who is Messi playing on and who is Ronaldo playing on and who is Neymar playing with, like yeah, like the superstars.
Yeah, I think we
Does
discussed
that
that
does that make a
before.
difference?
Yeah, and that's another common question, which is, can a superstar be enough to achieve? And some people argue that, for example, Messi did a lot and Portugal with Cristiano Ronaldo. These are teams that are mostly, in many cases, the one superstar is there and everyone else, they're probably good players, but they're not really known. But it seems that this one player does have a really outsized role, uh, may not be enough to win, but yes, definitely.
I wonder if coaches goes under team and players too. I could be wrong. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't, because for the simple reason that team and players, they have to be local, they have to be from the country. Coaches do not. Um,
Oh, really? That's interesting. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
you can hire a coach from wherever. Yeah.
What other factors? What about equipment?
Well, we did discuss technology. But I'm wondering if that's like a subset of money, of how much money
And
do you
so,
really have.
well, would money go underneath the like? Is that like the economy of the country that's hosting? Is that the amount of money that the team has? Like, hmm,
Well, mm, again, to a point, because not the wealthiest countries are not the best teams necessarily,
that's for sure.
but there are many cases in which, yeah, like a country, I believe countries have improved, like the teams have improved. Some cases have improved because of the better economics. But again, it's a factor. It's not
Mm.
the deciding factor. Um, and well, with technology, I would say it's a smaller factor because the regulations are very strict. So whoever is joining the World Cup, in terms of the kind of shoes, or I don't know how do you say. We have this word in Spanish, guayos.
Guayos.
Is in English, is it like
Do you
the
know?
name of the shoe for soccer? I think is
Cleats. We call them
cleat.
cleats. Cleats.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The regulations are very like defined, so every team kind of has to go. Of course, there are. You know what? Maybe something here could be like the sponsorships, and there's
Ooh.
always talk. Usually, is one sponsor for each team. So some are Adidas teams, others are Nike teams. I think there's like a couple of Puma teams and so on. But there's mostly Adidas and Nike.
Hmm.
Nike. Um,
What else? Did we have the other Google Doc that we were working on? Do I need to look at that?
if you would, I don't even know what was the name of it. Content.
Let's see. Overview of football career. So you put down luck. And I'm just wondering, what do we put underneath luck? Like, surprising outcomes, alternatives, things that were completely, and also we had you under location. Oh, you have the fan base. Okay, so oops, I went to the single screen somehow there. Shazam. I'm looking. Let's see.
I'm wondering if injuries is better here than,
Donde?
I don't know whether,
Weather.
like is an injury part of luck rather than the team.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's put it under luck because it's an unforeseen, right? Like you don't train to have an injury. An injury is a victim of circumstance. You get kicked in the head, you get tripped, you whatever, you fall out of bed one day.
Well,
What
I don't want to
about
get
what about
I don't want to get to project management here, but I wonder if I mean, there is luck that you can, I mean, you can think of luck in terms of risk and then you can manage it, right? So I wonder what kind of things are like absolutely like black swan, something that you cannot really predict. And so, I mean,
well, but that might be interesting. Like, do different teams have different curfews for their players? Do different teams have, different rules in terms of consumption and
yeah,
whatnot?
there's been this debate in Argentina, of all places, because there's this Argentinian player, Mascherano. He was pretty famous in his day. Now he's a coach, and he's the coach of the like sub-20 team. So those who play like younger tier tournaments, and he laid out a set of rules for the players. and they say that when there's like a news conference, they have to go in tie. There is actually a curfew, and I think there are no. I think there is a I think there's a requirement about girlfriends, and he also requires them to study and a lot of things. So that sparked a lot of debate. Like, should a
How much control does the coach have over your life?
yeah.
I don't know. Go talk to the Chinese gymnastics team, and you tell me if you talk to me about control of coach. That's all I got to say about that. You want to win, or you want to have a girlfriend? Which one do you want? I'm just looking at our list. And under technology, like we had talked about, excuse me, the uniforms and shoes. But what about other technology? Have there been significant shifts in the use of cameras, lasers? I mean, I don't know. Going from one ref to 5 refs, I don't know.
But the thing is, I mean, it definitely is a factor, but I think it's a factor that doesn't I would say that affects all teams equally. Maybe not, but because because of the point that I was making before, when the FIFA puts all of these regulations, everyone has to follow them. So there is a recent new innovation, which is VAR, VAR. It's an acronym. I'm not sure what it means, but basically, for the first time in a century, it lets referees to review plays on camera.
So something like video automated review or something like that.
Yeah, but it's not automated. There is like a process. I'm not really familiar with it, but I don't know if it's the referee themselves who are not sure of the play, or if I don't know, like the leader of the team can request it, or the referees that are the captain.
It's all right. Cleats, captain, these are all.
Yeah, I need a glossary.
I'm sure that if we were doing this in Spanish, it would be a much more humorous event for everyone. I like it. We've got 5 big buckets, which that's pretty substantial. At the end of the day, then we just have that sort of. You could always throw things into an other bucket, right? Like a random bucket if you find something out. And so, like, how are we gonna do this? Like, basically, do we have 5, maybe 6 modules for each year, and then I guess so because we want to look at each one of them through the same lenses, right?
Yeah. So, hear me out. I know I like to overcomplicate things, and kind of your job.
Yes, you do.
But part of your job is to simplify. So here's my complicated answer. Well, I've been thinking a lot about microlearning recently, and there's like a subtopic of microlearning that I think is important, which kind of touches on neuroscience of learning. It was actually two items. One is space repetition, which we've been seeing, we've written about it, we have guests talking about microlearning. There's going to be this conference on microlearning, which I think it's interesting. So space repetition, and it's just instead of just cramming yourself a bunch of content, just space it out.
I want to just give a little. I want to give a little shout out to Dr. Agrawal, who is going to be on the eLearn podcast in about 6 weeks. Dr. Pooja Agrawal. She has a book called Power Teaching, and she's all about timing and space repetition and retrieval mechanisms and those kinds of things. And it
Okay.
was one of the best podcast interviews that we've had. She's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. So space repetition, and the other is recombination, and it's,
Mm.
I mean, you can actually, I think the best way to recombine something is by repeating it. The only difference is that when you repeat the same topic, you repeat it like in another context or mixed with somebody else, with something
Mm-hmm.
else.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the discussions that we have is, for example, should we evaluate like vertically, like analyze the all these topics for the winning teams of each year, or do we go topic by topic and analyze like the teams of all those five, the last five winners? And I think there is a way in which we can do both by doing this sort of recombination uh,
Mm.
and spaced in time. Um, so that is my complicated answer. So let's apply it micro learning with space repetition and recombination.
Okay. I don't think there's anything incompatible with what. At the end of the day, we just have to provide the same knowledge, buckets for each year that we're doing,
Yeah,
and then we have to decide like so. When you
I mean
say
it's
micro learning and spaced repetition, like what does that mean? Like, are we going to use 7 taps and create a card deck for each one of these 6 topics? Um, are we going to ask people to discuss? Is there going to be, like that's the thing I'm getting to is like what kind of information are we putting on the table, and then how are we asking the learner to participate and like you say, like recombine and actually put their noodle to work here, right? Rather than just sort of sitting back and reading. It's like reading a book, like.
yeah. Um, well, I haven't really thought of the like interactivity element here. I think the micro learning works best when you're just trying to consume content. I mean, I've never heard of like micro interaction or micro peer based assessment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, would be interesting, but I have no background to say it's going to work or not. Of course, we can always experiment. Um, but and the other thing is that probably for me the best outcome of someone who takes this course is to have like their own kind of strategy. Like the outcome of this course for whoever takes the course is to have a strategy to win the World Cup that involves all of these items.
Mm.
Um, and that, I mean, when somebody has like a, a version of that plan, that would make it very more um, feasible to compare, to contrast, like in a live setting with peers. But that might not need to be micro learning.
Mm.
So we could mix, like we
Sure,
could
that
like
I think you definitely want to mix it up for sure.
uh-huh.
But then, so I guess the question then becomes: is it um, like do we do team and players for all 5 years, and then compare and contrast that, and then do we do coaches for or do you do all of these topics for 1 year?
Well, I would say both, so that way we can recombine.
Okay, but then so I mean, like, yet we're sort of getting to the point of like how are we going to present the material?
Yeah. Well, I would think we can have two phases, maybe more, but two at least, where in the first phase we just look at the topics. So each
Mm-hmm.
topic for each team, f- like 1 week. So this would be about, let's say it would be 10 weeks or 12.
Right. Uh huh.
So first week, team and players for all the winners. Second week, all the coaches and so
Okay.
on. That would be phase one. Then maybe, like alongside this, people are going to build their plans, and maybe we can do like a break or like a in between interactive session where everyone shows what they've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
And then the phase two could be just each team. Boom.
Cool.
That would be phase two.
Excellent. I love it.
Wikipedia.
Theinterweb.com.
No, I mean, no, not really Wikipedia. That's not a good answer. But a good
Actually,
answer
it
could
is.
be,
These days it is. It has to be.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to, I don't know.
Doubt
Maybe
you.
I'm reading the wrong things.
Too much
but
time in
I
Reddit,
think-
my friend. Too much time in Reddit.
Probably. But I do believe OER has to play here. So something that we need to look up is how much soccer content is there for OER.
That's a good point. 100%.
But yeah, we should definitely explore what's high quality and freely licensed and well researched.
So this sounds
Now-
like a great opportunity to bring in, one of our experts from OpenLMS to start talking to us about formats and activities and assessments and those kinds of things. So I think we need to reach out to somebody and say, look, here are the topics we want to talk about. What are some of the unique and creative ways that we can do this?
Yeah. To me, that would be the next step, or the immediate step. But you made me think. I wonder if we can get like actual coaches and maybe team players to talk about.
You know what I say? All you got to do is ask. The worst they can say is no.
What we gotta do is ask.
Got it. I'd love to just have like people who are super passionate about this. Like I've got a really good friend. His name's Mike. I wonder if he'd come on this with us and just. He probably has more in his like little pinky. He probably has more knowledge in his little pinky about these things than you and I like could research in a year.
Could he be like a good beta tester of the course, or is this too basic for him?
I think this is too basic. But this is something that a person like him would really chew on, right? Where it's just like, this is the thing that you debate forever over a beer, right? Where it's like, what was the factor, in 2000 for whatever team to win the World Cup? Like, what were the three reasons,
Yeah.
So I don't know, it could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking of a couple of different people, because I got another guy who I just spoke with as well recently, who he's going to actually be in Qatar. He's got a ticket. He's going to be in Qatar to go see it. And so I'm wondering, like, if we invite him on to just sort of noodle about what would be interesting. This could become pretty interesting.
Yeah. He could live stream from Qatar.
I think, yeah, absolutely. It could. I think that would be a good goal.
Yeah, and of course, there's over 40 people from OpenLMS that live in Colombia. I would say most of them would have something to say here. And it's funny that you mentioned, what did you say? Like chewable. I have a pack of gums here in my table, so I thought it would be fun to think of that like this course, like something that you just pop into your head and chew on it, like just a couple of minutes a day, instead of the promise of micro learning, right? So how can we make it fun and for people to just hop in and try it out? And related to that, there is this discussion that there is, because the last time we met, you basically told me to get into the no-code movement and the environment and so on, and I've been kind of deep into that. And there's this article that I thought it was very interesting. Startups usually talk about the minimum viable product.
Mm-hmm.
And this article, and it got good traction on those no-code circles that says, no, don't think about viability, think about awesomeness. So instead of an MVP, think of an MAP, a map.
The minimum awesome product?
Exactly, yeah.
Wow. That's
I'm wondering,
that's a high bar. All right.
why? I mean, you are awesome. You know how to do awesome things.
Yeah, no, I see what it is, but it's a different way to look at it for sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, and if it's awesome from the beginning, more people would be able to test it and just let us know where it can go better.
Definitely.
So I think that's our next step.
All right. Well, we have our next step. We're going to have to look for somebody to help us with formats, activities, assessments, see who we get first. We want to look for some subject matter experts or at least armchair experts, that we could bring on. So next time, let's concentrate on format. What kind of formats do we have available to us? We can talk through those.
Yeah, well, I think we have a partial answer. I mean, I thought you were going to push back on microlearning, to be honest.
But no, why? I like microlearning.
Fine.
Microlearning is fun.
Microlearning, and yeah, but mixed with live interaction. But then the question that I think we don't have answered is the format of the content. Is it going to be text? Is it going to be videos? Some kind of interactive H5P thingy? Or
I think a lot of that's going to be determined by how much OER is out there on World Cup.
yeah. Oh my god. OER. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to tie it in a bow. But stay tuned for next time when we talk about microlearning and other format options, including, OER is it a format option or that's a content piece? But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could have an answer. I don't know if that's is the right answer. But maybe who has a good answer? Our guests for July 20th.
For July 20th,
session.
yeah. The next session, the eLearn Success Series. They might have a good one, right? Yeah. And they all are the people who are coming to the October session. They could also maybe have good suggestions. And there are a lot of people who are at our instructor session and our design session as well. There were many presenters who probably have good ideas as well. I wonder if we bring on Ted Curran, see if he has some ideas, or some other people like Mark Parry. Actually, it's Mark Perry. He likes to correct me on that. I always keep wanting to call him Parry, but it's Mark Perry.
But it's with an A, not with an E.
I know, but he corrected me on. I kept saying his name wrong. Anyway.
All
right, Chris. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.